Well, the day is finally here. Paralives announced it's going into early access December 8th of this year. Now, the December early access release date was announced for Paralives during the PC gaming show. It being in December, I think seems reasonable. It is early December, and I hope that it all goes well for them. Honestly, I hope they can commit to this date and it goes as well as possible, but this is also good because we have a date for people who are worried it was never gonna come. Now, that aside, there is a lot to pick apart in this trailer in a positive way. I think it just embodied the game and what we've seen so far, and I noticed little details and just how well it's coming together. Of course, as a disclaimer, this is just a trailer and we don't know the intricacies of how complex the gameplay is, we don't know how advanced the personalities are, but does it look like it's coming together well? In my opinion, absolutely. So the trailer starts off with a lush rural region. We start to see clotheslines and walking trails, and this just looks like a really pleasant place, but then it actually heads into the downtown district. This looks to be a very scenic coastal town, and honestly, it looks like it has a lot of character. The downtown I especially love. There are public telephones, there's a diner called Maurice's where you can get breakfast, and then we get to look at some of the capabilities, of course, in build mode 2. What this trailer does is really balance out showing off different details in this game. Of course, we've seen some of this before. You can stretch and design couches. You can also adjust your windows. But then we get into a scene where there's a whole group of parafolk, and one of them is actually sitting upside down. In honesty, there are lots of interesting poses here, and I think those are just some really cool added details as they're watching TV. I also noticed some of the clutter items. I really love the teacups, the newspaper, and the bookshelves. Of course, I'm a big sucker for those. But the next scene then goes into a picnic with pizza and bikes, and I'm noticing how different sections of the world feel different while also still feeling cohesive. Now, of course, we also get more looks at the downtown. We have an antique store, we have a clothing shop, and of course, we also have that coffee shop. Now, as a reminder, we did see that coffee shop during the gameplay trailer, so we see a little bit more about that. Also, as a reminder, we may not be able to go into all these shops immediately, so I just want that as a disclaimer, but so far it does look like there's a lot of promise, and I hope we can build upon that in the future. What also really speaks out to me is how much vibrant life this game seems to have. Again, it is just a trailer. We don't know how parafolk are really going to behave in live mode. I always like to say that. But we get to see parafolk, of course, eating together, enjoying each other's company. There's a parafolk playing the piano, which again, a lot of this is content we have seen before, but it is packaged in a more nuanced and cohesive way. We also get to see a montage of different clothing and expressions, and really a montage of one of these parafolk's life. We get to see them growing older, they get married, they also get older together, and yes, we don't actually get to see the whole wedding, we don't get to see actually some of the live mode gameplay, but it is expressive of some of the items they've created and generally speaking where this game is going. I also really like the look at the nursery area. I noticed the dollhouse, the cribs, and just the vast array of toys. One thing I do think they're committed to is adding activities and gameplay for all ages. Again, this is aesthetic right now. We don't know how much gameplay there is going to be, and I will say, even though I'm really excited, it is important to keep that in mind. Nonetheless, all the previews here just really scream the rich coziness of Paralives. We get to see a cozy kitchen with green counters. I really actually like the scene of the parafolk crying by a bathtub and actually having a kid comfort her, and we do get to see a little bit of conflict. Honestly, this trailer is very light on conflict whatsoever, but there is a couple that is arguing, so that is a good addition, and I do hope as they continue to develop this game, we get to see more areas for conflict and consequence. We also get to see, of course, a couple kissing by a waterfront. I think that is just a beautiful shot, and definitely there is a sense of community. There's a gathering of sorts, and people are dancing, they're eating, they're just really celebrating and being together. So all in all, I would say this is a good teaser trailer for Paralives. It gives us the idea of what kind of game it is for people who may not have seen it before, and honestly, it showcases a lot of the work they have done in both build mode and the paramarker. The one thing I will say, and it's really hard to get a trailer really tight and actually show this, is yes, it is a little bit light on actually showing the gameplay. And I know this is going to be a concern of many people, and you know what? I support your concern. And what I mean by that is, it is fine to be skeptical of games. That said, I personally think it's looking pretty good, and I do hope, of course, we get more information as we get closer to early access. December 8th as an early access date, I think seems like a good idea. Again, I'm not involved behind the scenes whatsoever, but I definitely don't want them to rush this by any means, and it is still fulfilling their promise to release this year. It's just close to the end of this year. Overall, I was so happy to see them in this gaming show. I think it is a big platform and it's a way to get the word out. I really hope more people discover the game and get invested, but I will say again, one of the downsides to these gaming shows is most of the time you don't get an opportunity for interviews. An interview with this team would have been so great. It would have explained the game more, get people more interested, and also explain some of the nuance behind the game. Because, in short, I am so excited about this game, and I think you know that, but I also understand the skepticism, and I think because we don't have the platform or the time to really explain the nuance of the gameplay, that can be challenging. But again, any game that is like Paralives, Sims, or even Inzoi, it is hard to really explain the gameplay in a short span of time. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I probably talked really fast because I was so excited. If you want me to go into more depth and detail on this trailer, please let me know. We can look at specific scenes. I hope this was not an annoying video because I talked so quickly, but you're probably used to it. Please take care and I'll see you in the next one.